If you wait until October to start thinking and prepping for Q4, you are already way too late. I've been guilty of and I've seen it happen hundreds of times where people don't start thinking about Christmas or Q4 until it's already here in October. And then they're scrambling to get a brand new designs for all of the holidays coming up and to cash in on the gift buying season for Christmas. And these sellers struggle to make the life-changing sales that Q4 can bring versus those who started prepping in the summer, in July, in August, or maybe even earlier. They're the ones cashing in. It can take time for Etsy listings to start actually gaining momentum. Yes, some might miraculously sell the day after you list them, but more cases than not, I found that things will take a few days to a few weeks to actually start getting views and to start getting favorites, which in turn start getting sales. And the more history that data has, for example, when you start getting favorites, you might get a few favorites before you get a few sales. And then the minute you get your first sale, you get another sale, and then another sale, and then another sale, because you have history behind that listing. So someone might start posting Christmas sweaters in July, and you might think, oh, that's a little bit of overkill. But you'd be so surprised by how many people shop early for Christmas, or they're just starting to favorite things for Christmas for them to come back to. And those listings that are up earlier to catch those viewers are going to be ranking higher when the big sellers come for Q4, say in October, November, than someone who just listed their product in October. You want to also give yourself time to actually build out listings that can do well. If you only have October or the beginning of October to try to catch up to the listings, you are going to have a very busy October. Versus if you start thinking about adding a lot of listings early on in summer, for example, where for a lot of stores, including mine, summer is a slower season. This is where you have time to add with less stress, test more things out so that you can have new products, more listings, more niches out to get found for that busy season. So while summer for some people can be very disheartening because it is the slower season, things are probably quieter in your store. Instead of looking at that as a downside, look at that as a positive, as it gives you time, a break from customer service to just focus on getting up new listings in your store. So now that you know why it's so important to start listing early and to start thinking about Q4 early, let's go into my top tips to ensuring that you have the best Q4 that you've ever had. And the first note that I have for you is about niches and evergreen versus holiday niches. Holiday niches are what they sound like. They are tied to a holiday versus evergreen are more things like careers, hobbies, lifestyles, different things that aren't technically related to a holiday so that they can sell year round. And you might be thinking, well, Q4 has so many holidays: Thanksgiving, Halloween, Christmas. I should be focusing on holiday listings. Well, that's actually not what I personally recommend or what I have found has worked best for my store. I've had many students that focus on holiday listings. They spent forever getting up Christmas shirts. They spent forever getting up these Thanksgiving shirts, and they got lots of sales, yes. But what happened was the minute that holiday passed, they went down to 0 sales again. Versus, you know what actually sells more in Q4? Gifts. People during Q4 are buying for Christmas. They are buying 10 people different gifts online, and those gifts are not holiday themed. You don't buy someone a Christmas themed sweatshirt for Christmas because the minute they receive it, Christmas is done. So they're buying things around their hobbies, around their careers. Things that I mentioned are called evergreen niches. And the best part about building evergreen niches as well is the minute a holiday passes, say Christmas finishes, these can still sell as gifts because people still buy things as gifts year round for different types of occasions, birthdays, celebrations, any reason to buy a gift. And once you've built up sales from Q4, going into January, February, you won't feel that massive drop off that some others will because your listings are still ranking higher because you made Q4 sales. So you're ranking higher in January, February. People are still buying for your niche, maybe not quite as much as Q4. Q4 is going to be the highest selling time, but you're not going to drop down to 0 sales like you would if you just had holiday products in your store. So what do I recommend? I personally recommend building a base of evergreen niches first, because that way, no matter what happens when sales come and go, when holidays come and go, yes, certain listings may dry up, but you have those ones that are selling ideally weekly or daily for you that are keeping you afloat even after holidays pass. And I truly believe that this is why my store has done so well and why I actually do decently well in January and February when most people are really sad because they got to feel what Q4 sales are like. My sales are still decently high January, February because I am ranking high on niches that are still selling but were boosted by Q4. Well, once you have those best-selling designs or other designs that are not tied to a holiday, you can start creating versions of those that are holiday themed so that those can get the major upside of people buying for Thanksgiving, people buying for Halloween. But again, those drops after that holiday is done doesn't leave you back to square one. The next tip I have for you is to double down in what's working. And there's multiple ways that you can do this that I'm going to describe to you. So what you're going to do is you're going to go into your recent orders and we are going to try to find your listings that are either making sales or gaining traction like favorites. And we're going to start doubling down on these listings because they already have a history of doing well. So they'll likely do well with different variations to them. So perhaps you have a mama shirt that has a tulle background, which is doing really well right now. And that is your best selling design. Well, maybe for Christmas or Q4, a plaid version would work well. Another option that I highly recommend is changing the niche. If you have a design that's doing really well in one niche, it'll probably do really well in a very similar niche or maybe a more specific niche. If you had a best-selling teacher shirt, creating a second grade teacher shirt or an English teacher shirt using the exact same design that you already had doing really well for that original niche. Or if you had a teacher shirt doing really well, perhaps it would work really well on a nurse version or a mama version or a grandma version. Anything where the niches might have a similar design style could do really well. And now that you have your evergreen listings built up, here is also where referencing your best-selling designs or listings that are already doing well for you, you can add a holiday twist to them. So you're not spending so much time creating holiday listings. Instead, you can use different AI platforms, whatever platform you use to design, to add a holiday twist to an already best-selling design. And the next way I recommend building up your listings, and by doing them from data, things that are already working so that you are capitalizing on more listings that have a much higher likelihood to sell in Q4, is to be putting your best-selling listings or your best-selling designs on other products. Say you already have a best-selling listing and it's on a Comfort Colors shirt. Well, in Q4, for a lot of people, it is the winter months and it is cold out and people are buying sweatshirts. So often what does really well on a t-shirt during summer can convert to doing really well on a sweatshirt as well. In fact, my best selling products in my store is the Gildan 18,000 here. So whenever I get a bestseller on anything, I am making sure, especially for Q4 and going into the colder months, that I'm also having this listed on the Gildan 18,000 here. Some other products that do really well during Q4 and year round that often also translate from, say, t-shirt designs and work really well. Not every single design, but quite a bit of them. Things like putting a best-selling design on a Printify mug. The accent mugs do really well right now. And a lot of the time, again, things that do really well on apparel can convert to doing really well on mugs. Items that also do really well during Q4 are ornaments. And a lot of my designs that I find are customized, that are for shirts and sweatshirts, will translate over to an ornament design. Again, very specific, depends on the type of design that I created. So I have to make sure that it does convert to how it would look on an ornament, but a lot of the times I will put best-selling designs also on ornaments for Q4 should I think it would work. And my two favorite mugs, I give people the option between buying the glass ornaments from Printed Mint, or I also really like the ceramic ornaments, but specifically from SwiftPod, which I'm not seeing here. They are on here. There's a bunch of them. But if you look through these and find the SwiftPod one, because those actually have a matte edge, so I find the print looks a lot better versus versus some of the other ornament ones here. You're gonna find a bunch on here. Oh, and here is the Swift Pod one that I was looking for, called just ceramic decoration ornament. I would be doing these types of changes and upgrades before you start trying to create a whole bunch of brand new designs out of thin air, because these types of designs that you're putting up on new products, on new niches, different variations of the designs are rooted in successful data already. You already have history of this working. It's a lot more likely to pick up and do well with slight tweaks to it versus creating a whole bunch of brand new designs. But those you can worry about afterwards, and also add those to your rotation of things to be adding during the summer months or in Q3 before Q4 starts. The next thing I want you to do is go to your listings and go specifically to your expired listings. There might be some listings in there that you created for holidays last year that expired, that you accidentally set to manually renew so that they didn't get reposted to your store. I've had bestsellers that did really well maybe for Christmas last year, but then they didn't sell and they turned off or expired after a few months. But given that that season is coming back around, I want to make sure that that's live and live early to start getting data again so it can climb in the ranking. So I am ranking decently high for when the majority of these shoppers are coming in. So just make sure you're going back and turning on any old holiday listings that you may have built that still have a chance to sell this year. And finally, set yourself a goal. Maybe have a weekly goal to get up 2 to 5 listings, 2 to 10 listings, 10 to 20 listings, how many you find you can fit into your schedule realistically without burning out. Don't burn yourself out, guys, but set yourself that schedule that is realistic for you to get out listings continuously to prep for Q4. Again, that's going to make things a lot less overwhelming when that season comes up, and it will come up so much faster than you think. I hope this video helped you guys. Let me know what evergreen niche you want to focus on in Q4 in the comments below. Thank you guys, and I will see you next week.